thinking of a question for you.
Over on page 16, agenda item A2, this is approval and adoption of the marketing committee vision statement. The statement itself you can see on page 17. Felt it was appropriate to bring this before the board for approval.
Doug, this has been approved, right?
Yes, it has.
I make a motion to approve it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'll second.
I'm on a second. Any comments you want to make, Doug?
No,
Okay.
John did a good job in developing this, and we're ready to move forward with it.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, agenda item A3 is approval of an advertising expenditure for $10,000 with the Montreal Gazette. This is for a 6-month campaign beginning in October and running through March of 2016.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Second?
Tom, you want to give us you got your motion moved forward. You want to give us a little gist of what's going on?
It's a 6-month campaign with 74,000 impressions. It'll run each month. And then they're giving us a bonus, 10% bonus impressions, which will consist of another 50,000 leaderboard impressions that'll run in April 2013.
Will you be able to provide the committee or the board an update 1 month from when this goes into effect to make sure that it's effective? Just kind of report back, so that way if it's not effective, you can make an appropriate decision there.
We will get it monthly feedback, is my understanding.
Okay. I would like that. I would like that shared with the marketing committee and the board, because as you know, I'm very much opposed to this, for the reason that it's an English ad in a French market. It's Montreal is a 67% French-speaking market. I don't feel it's appropriate to put an English ad in a French market. And in addition, corporate security generally blocks these type of things appearing on the internal mail servers. But on that basis, let's give it a try and see where it goes.
Oh, this can't be done in both, English and French?
I can't speak to that, John.
I thought it was both.
76% of the businesses in Montreal are located on the island in the North and South Shore, and they're primarily English-owned businesses.
But,
And that's the area that we're targeting. And Montreal Gazette is the largest publication in Montreal.
okay, let me catch the side step of what I'm trying to say here. I'd like to see it in French and English. The reason for that, nobody takes offense to it. The French people are very proud of their language. So the ad, what I'm asking is, why can't we do it in both? The same ad, but in French too. You're in their area. Now, there's the people in the business, I understand, can speak French and English. But there's some people running them companies up there that might be offended.
At Cultural.
That's what I'm trying to say.
At Culture Park plays.
Yeah, you run into that if you go north of Montreal in those areas.
But can you do it in both? And there's what the cost would be.
They can run it on their Yahoo site. I'm not sure what that means in French. And so yes, it can be.
Sounds like it'd be easier for them to do it in
Yeah.
French than it would be English, but.
I just,
What is the?
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. The other aspect that I was thinking of is, the Montreal Gazette speaks for Quebec. And a certain part of the circulation does end up in Quebec City, which is a major player in this whole St. Lawrence River Valley situation of the port. It also goes into Three Rivers, which is another interesting port along the way, whatever. So what you're saying, Fred, is it's a little more prevalent as you move up the ladder, up the coast, or up the river, that the French aspect will play into as much.
If that was our market, if that was the area we were marketing.
Doesn't matter, but somebody's gonna read this somewhere.
Yeah.
okay? So, I mean, it just doesn't stay inside 50, 60 miles of Montreal. You don't know who's gonna read what, whatever, and whose desk it goes across. Cause somebody's gonna know something somewhere and say, hey, did you see this? So somewhere along the line, you know, those markets may not be the one you're targeting, but
Yeah.
you don't know where it's gonna come from, so,
That's all I was asking.
yeah.
Okay.
That's, I think excellent job, you know, coordinate this and get it moving. I think even Wade, some things we don't totally agree upon, whatever, or, you know, philosophically, whatever, but, I think the philosophy of this board is, we wanna make things happen, and we're looking for, we're not trying to waste money, we're trying to invest money to, you know, have an outcome, and I think that's exactly what this board wants.
I'm clear on that, I'm not opposing
I know.
this, and that's why it's here, that's why it's here before you.
But you're not in favor of this.
I'm not in favor of this English ad in the French market, no.
Okay.
I can
With that-
what is it, just because we're in that market, or is it because it's not gonna be published in French?
Well, there's two things here.
If it was published in French, would you be happier?
Yes, but, and there's a very important but. This is an online ad campaign. This is the type of stuff that computer systems have, like Barracuda, those type things, in place to block. So in other words, we get these type of things all the time that come into the Virgin Port Authority. And when they appear on the screen, the only thing you get is the text. Any of the graphics, anything else, you get a nice red X. And you don't see it. That's the other issue that I have with this one. I think it's great that we're doing something different. I just think, I strongly feel it should be in French, in the French market. And I also question the value of the online thing that is blocked by standard corporate security, which we have here. That's why I'd request, we get into this for a month, and we get feedback that says, hey, it's working great, that's wonderful. And if it's not, let's pull the plug.
Why don't we make an open suggestion here as a board member, and a person that loves Canada, and I do a lot of business with them people over the years of my lifetime. Okay, I know how tender they are. Okay? When you speak in there's certain people speak certain ways. Why don't we do a 3-month ad in French and in English? Instead of 6 months, we'll do it 3 months. French and English. We'll see what comes out of this thing.
It's an English publication though, so people that are reading it, everything is in English. So
Everything in that paper is English.
everything in the paper is English. So if they look at it,
Bilingual,
they see
I
it.
mean, so,
It's a
well,
bilingual.
let's take it a step further, let's take it a step further, because one of the things is, if you read, some of the things I get, whatever, it tells me how many people opened that site. Will we get that report, how many people read it, opened our site?
Yes.
That's the feedback you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the key, that's the key. Now, you're saying only English, but I would still ask them, there's gotta be another aspect of this agency, wait a minute,
The other thing
Go
to
into
point
the
out,
French side.
the other thing to point out too is that I was among the proposed to do French at one time, and we did French in Laissez-Faire, which is a leading business publication in Canada. We got
Okay.
absolutely no response.
okay,
So,
all right. I take
So
your
we're trying
recommendation.
something different and seeing.
Exactly.
We're gonna read that and see where we go.
So what are your suggestions, Fred, just 3 months?
That's what I would do. You know, let it run for 3 months, see where we're at.
okay.
Is that gonna mess the deal up that you have?
I think so, yeah, because they're giving us a bonus for running for 6 months, and you just diminish the campaign by shortening the length of it. The longer the campaign, the
So
better.
it's cheaper going to 6 months and
Yeah.
the cost is greater going 3 months.
I can support this, but I think we really need to have some feedback at the end of month one, whether or not it's working, and if it's not
Well,
working,
you're gonna
kill
pull a
it.
plug, how you gonna pull a plug if you do a 6 months resolution, you do a 6 months contract, so how you gonna pull the plug? You can't pull that plug.
There has to be an option built into this contract to cancel it
Well,
with
is all
1
that,
month's
is
notice.
that, all that been done? Was this discussed with the marketing?
Yes, it
division?
was.
Yes, it
Yes,
was.
it is.
No?
And we
And I-
supported it.
Yeah, support it.
I
Well, I
was
think-
not at that meeting, I had the Department of Labor hearing. Neither
What
Fred
what
nor
have we
I.
done what have we done in the past when we've tried to do some marketing in Montreal? Have we did marketing in the Montreal area before?
Yes, we did in an all-French publication, the leading French publication, Laissez-Faire, which is read by French-speaking business people. And we did display ads as well as some smaller ads, and did not get any response from it. Mailings that we've done, all English mailings that we've done to Montreal have been successful. English is the universal language of business.
In the Montreal
Well,
Gazette's only, no, the Montreal Gazette's only published in
I'm
English?
gonna make a
Yes.
motion, amend the motion for 3 months, cause it says $1,666 per month. So that's the price they're giving you anyway, per month. So we'll do the ad for a total of 3 months, see what we get out.
Okay.
Well, I wanna go back to, go ahead, Steve. you can make
Well,
a-
one of the things that we did is we approved before we went on to this, if you just back up a second, our vision statement, our mission, our task statement. What we tried to do was make sure what we were targeting fit into all of that, which we felt this did. As a matter of fact, there were some other proposals that the marketing committee decided we didn't want to spend money on at this particular point. We wanted to focus on the market that we paid a large amount of money to have a study done that said expand out into this particular area. And one of the things that we asked Mr. Reich to do was prepare whatever he did in the way that it would fit into our visions and our missions. And this is what he came up with. Now, the money is budgeted. I think it fits within the vision of that. It goes to the market that we were targeting or we were advised to target. And, you know, the little problem I have with cutting it short is it's a new market and we don't know when that one hit that we're looking for is going to occur. It could occur in the 6th month or the 5th month or whatever. So I think we need to take the step and do it and see what response that we get.
I agree with you, but I just agree that, I agree, but I think you got a per month price here, and I think we should do it for 3 months. Let it run for a solid 3 months, and see what we get out of it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not changing anything else, just the 3 months.
Well, you know, I agree what you're saying. I sat on the marketing committee and you know, like, I start to worry when committees, and we gave a recommendation for our staff people to do and follow through, and then we come back and they did the work behind the scenes to create what we asked them to do. Then we come back as a full board, not to say we have to accept what we asked them to do as a subcommittee, but then all of a sudden you say, that creates, I don't say a level of, wow, why am I doing this, whatever. I'm saying you start to question board's decision, whatever. The marketing committee gave direction to John, and he did the things that we asked him to do. Now, obviously, when we come back to a full board, we decide if that's good or not, whatever. Now, all of a sudden, I mean, and I take your recommendation, you've been here a long time, Fred, you know, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. But somewhere along the line, we have to be consistent with what we're asking our people to do, and then they do what they ask them to do. Now, I wanna ask you a question, John, with that statement I just made. Is there any other backup plans that I know you proposed this, there's no guarantee that you did the work behind the scene. Was there any other proposal that you may have for them that would allow for Fred's motion to become active at that cost of $1,666 a month?
I'd have to go back to the customer or back to
Okay.
the paper and find out.
I really do, back what Steve said, I don't mean to hog the conversation here, but I usually do, with Fred and I, we like to talk a lot. But somewhere along the line, you have to ask yourself, how long, and I remember reading a little market research, it has to repeat itself, and repeat itself before somebody knows that ad is gonna be there, and it's gonna be there, because sometimes somebody's gonna hit it at that point in time. You just can't hit it once. It takes time and time again. It has to be at a certain time, certain moment, certain space, certain areas, and that's what it needs to be. So that ad, and the way you present it, has to be consistent, And I don't think 3 months will get it done. I don't think we'll get anything done. But I could be wrong, Fred, I don't know enough about it and what's gonna happen. And that's the recommendation that, you're saying is gonna work.
But I,
This is where
exactly
I-
what you just said is exactly what I said. We want a report back at the end of the month, it's done nothing, we never got a hit. We didn't get this, that's it, pull it. That is not what I said. I said to do a solid 3 months and let it run.
Here's the disconnect I
There's-
have. When-
There's the connect, the other
when
is the
our
French part.
When our IT folks tell us that nobody's gonna see this ad, that's where I have the problem with this.
I talked to the Montreal Gazette and they said they'd never seen that happen.
That's a salesman for an ad. What has our IT people said? You've talked to them directly.
Well, they sell an awful lot of online ads.
John, could you,
Google
could
does and
you,
everybody does.
could you open the ads on the Montreal Gazette site from here?
No, not from here.
That's the case. We can't open them.
Well, wait a minute, now, you may be talking an apple and an orange too.
Yeah.
You have a different, this organization has a different philosophy than a business organization may have. You're under a different set of circumstances with regard to everything you do.
Maybe you can get
We
this
have
done with them.
plain garden variety internet corporate security, and I'll give you an example, on that, Steve, on that article that I gave you regarding the MTA sign policy. The MTA sign policy, those banner ads that show up in there have an X and they say access blocked. That's what anybody looking at this will see that has standard corporate security. And I just wanna make sure that, you know, we're trying something different, and that's good,
It
that's a
is
good thing.
It is good.
But I wanna make sure that what we are doing gets seen. And I'm not an expert in IT. Our IT person says anybody running standard corporate security will not be able to see this ad. Fine, let's try something new, but I think in a month's time, we need to know if we're getting any type of response, if we're getting any type of
I don't think you'll get a.
off these ads.
I don't, excuse me, wait, I don't think you're gonna get a valid answer to that in 1 month. I don't think so. And you may get the hit, you may hit jackpot right away. But I think is the philosophy of this board is, and I know you agree with what I'm saying here, is let's look at different avenues and different way we wanna go about this thing. Alright? Now, do we really know it's foolish? Or do we know it's really a solid investment? I don't think we know that.
No advertising is solid investment.
No, that's right.
It's-
Nobody knows that.
yeah.
Nobody knows that. But I do know if I was at Price Chopper the other day, when they're giving something away, people are gonna get there, I'll tell you that. I was in line for hours the other day, just to.
John, just got a question that comes up though. John, how many, every newspaper now has online access. Can they tell you how many people in geographic, in the model that you wanna hit, subscribe to their service? They don't have, it's not blocked from those people. If they subscribe, if a corporation subscribes or some individual subscribes to it from a corporation, they'll have access.
Oh,
They would,
that's
if
a
they
different, that's a
subscribe, if
different
they
game
subscribe,
plan.
yes.
So I don't know, I mean, you could ask,
for it, you wanna see what.
well, yeah, I mean,
You can see the whole thing.
you're buying a newspaper.
It's a good point you make, and not only that point, I think that their prospectus is different than ours. Ours is, we don't want that crap, and theirs might be, let's see what's out there so that we can, shop, so to speak. So what they block, or what they have blocked, or what they, do may be different than what we do. And I'm certainly not an expert, and I don't even pretend to be, but I think that is a point that's well taken.
Well, based on that, I would withdraw the objection, and, I still feel though that we need to have this reported on.
But when? A month or 3 months?
Um,
A month, I think.
I would say monthly. I mean, we're gonna know what the statistics are monthly coming in. So report monthly and see where it goes.
The other thing I'd remind you is, he's made attempts to advertise in other means that turned up nothing. So there's no guarantee that when you do something, that you're necessarily going to come up with something. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to kind of ignite a new market, a new interest, a new area. We don't know what we're going to get from it. Our hopes is one major something.
Well, why don't you explain, John, what are we targeting and what this advertisement, what is it targeting and what What's it have?
It's marketing our available space, in the Montreal Gazette. It has about 500,000 subscribers to it.
Okay, and what do we offer them for the space? What would it say that we're looking to do, or how it's gonna, just say we got space available, or?
Space available as low as,
What's the
I think
advantages
there's a
of being
price in
here?
there, and business incentives and the contact information.
Okay.
John, have we ever advertised in the Montreal Gazette, like the hard copy? Have we ever done that before? I just wondered if we had, what kind of feedback if we did.
I don't think so.
Was laissez-faire online, or was that
That was hard
hard
copy.
copy?
Yeah.
See, the market we looked at,
Yeah.
we've done Ottawa, we've gone
Yeah.
that way, and actually, Bruce or whatever says, you need to look up
Mhm.
there.
East.
Yeah, you need to look up
Yeah.
there. You need to get outside the box and look up there and see what you got. And that's what we're asking to do. Bingo, you know, it only takes one. I mean, whatever you get, you get. I mean, so, we got a lot of space available, and it's whatever, and I think, you know, I think the vision of everybody here is to make something happen, and I don't think anybody's negative about anything, but you may, I don't care, cross me negative, I know you're not. I know you're not.
One thing, Sam,
go ahead.
that the monthly report would do, I mean, we're gonna know whether we're successful or not, whether or not we have a new contract.
Absolutely.
But I think what the report would do is say, do you have a chance of being successful? Is anyone hitting the
That's right.
ads?
Does anyone
Because if
click
no
on it?
one can even get to them,
Yeah.
then they aren't be hitting on them. But I think that would tell us that.
Yeah.
And then you could say to the Montreal Gazette, we haven't had one hit, is there some problem
Yeah.
that you can resolve here, or
How's the hit communicated to us? So say, Jones Manufacturing, whatever, is interested, whatever, would they contact, how would we know
They'll have
that
a
they're?
link, they'll have a link to our website, you just click on it, and it automatically goes to our website, or they can click on my name and it'll automatically send me an
Automatically
email.
go to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the world we live in,
But they
guys.
track the clicks, so if there's a human on the other end that clicks it, we'll know about it, so.
And if it clicks on you, you're gonna get it anyways.
Yeah.
Well, then that's two reports then.
I think
In the
we gotta
monthly
give it
reporting
fair
too.
chance.
In the monthly reporting too, will show, like you had said, maybe the first month isn't so good, and then after they've seen it, I
Yeah.
think it'll track to see what month, you know, how far
Okay.
along it's gonna take to get more hits, or,
Okay, as presented as 6 months, we've already had a second, we're in the question part. We'll make a vote on that. All those in favor for 6 months as is, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay.
Okay, the next item up is Ogdensburg Airport, agenda item B1 over on page 19. Anytime we do something with the airport, you recall we have various parts of the funding. We'll have an engineering component, we'll have an FAA component, we'll have a New York State DOT component, and our share. What you have here on page 19, B1, this is the grant agreement with the New York State DOT in the amount of $7,125 for the ARF, the Aircraft Rescue and Firefighting Vehicle, as pin 7903.93.
Is this a grant like you would submit, John? Does that come through you to have that grant, or is that just a separate
No,
grant?
that's done by
This comes
our
airport
consultant.
CNS.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's not something within our records, it's just, okay. So that automatically happens?
No,
This
it
grant?
comes from CNS.
No, what we do is we
Yeah.
put the airport capital program together with their engineer. It's voted on and approved here by the board, and that's the direction that the engineers go.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Any further questions? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, agenda item B2 over on page 20. This is the, as I referenced in my period report, this is the agreement between TSA and OBPA for law enforcement services. Its total is $43,000 per year. This new agreement is a three-year agreement as opposed to a 5-year agreement.
So it's what, 43?
43, I apologize, I was speaking in round numbers, it's actually $48,000.
Is it 48.4?
Yeah, 48,4 is what's right.
Exactly what the resolution is?
Yes.
And it's costing us 131,400
No, that's for the whole three.
No, that's,
for the 3 years,
it's
is
a
that?
3-year
right?
agreement,
Okay.
is 131,400.
Okay, now how much is this, CFO, how much has this changed over the last year and the year before? Can you tell me that?
I believe last year it was 86,000,
So
so it
it's,
would be down,
so it's,
38,000.
so it's $38,000 down
Right.
from last year.
This year they're basing it on, 2 hours of Leo for each flight for each outgoing flight. So they're basing it on 6 hours per day, because we have 3 flights out. 6 hours per day times $20 an hour. That's all they'll go. It doesn't matter what it costs you. Their maximum is $20.
6 hours per day,
Yep,
and at the rate of what, $20?
$20 per hour.
And that's what is covering that's coming out of the 48,400.
That makes up the 48.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so it's costing us what,
It's costing us,
per hour?
I think it's 26 something per hour.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's 25.94 in the existing agreement with the city of
The city of
Ogdensburg.
Ogdensburg.
Then we're
and
splitting the
Then
overtime
we
with
split the
Blacktop.
overtime.
I think it's usually around 9 hours a day.
So, $3 and they're putting in 3, is that what you're telling me?
No,
No.
the overtime, we have 1 overtime hour per day, and, we
No,
split.
I think I wanna clarify the question. You're asking the difference of the rates, correct?
You're giving me a $20 an hour, that's what
Okay.
the
The way the TSA requires that rate be calculated, it adds up to only a total of $20. The actual cost, the way things are done, is $25.94. So they're playing not only with the methodology, they're playing with the number of hours as well. So there's really 2 reductions there.
All right, so let me, just for I get clarification for my own mind. We're paying the city $26 an hour?
Just about.
Yes,
That's what we're paying.
yes.
So as actuality, it's costing the city $3 an hour and us $3 an hour.
No,
No.
So we're
no, right, under the current
getting
contract.
confused because
under
you
the
said
current-
we were splitting the cost.
Overtime.
of
That's
overtime.
overtime.
That's that's regular time.
Under the old
$26 an hour.
agreement.
The overtime is $39 an hour for 1 hour for each.
And that's all we're really splitting is the
That's all.
overtime rate?
Yes, yes.
So who's eating this $6 an hour?
Well, that $6 an hour did not exist until now, so no one is today. We will eat it all tomorrow, unless we make a different deal. These are new rules from TSA.
And that's not gonna change. What I think what we need to do is talk to the city, see if we can get anywhere using that avenue. And I'm a little bit curious too about this overtime. Is there a way to move one of the outgoing flights to get away from that 1 hour of overtime?
When we explored that question 3 or 4 years ago, the answer to that was no, and at the time, it was because with moving the afternoon flight, you duplicated the same situation in the morning. And you were trading overtime in the morning for overtime in the afternoon, you're still dealing with overtime. It's just where it was located in the day.
So our only resort then seems to be to work out some new agreement with the city.
Yes.
If they'll listen to us.
And Wade, you said it actually turns out to, or maybe you said it, Fred, to 9 hours a day? Or-
That's what we're getting now, and because that was acceptable in the past.
Okay.
Oh, 8 hours was acceptable in the past.
And then 1 hour over, it's 1
Right.
hour over.
So, when we actually first got this, it was 4 hours per day. And after discussions with them, it became 6 hours per day. So we were able to negotiate with them to get 6 hours per day, and the $20 is max. A new max.
Our first flight out in the morning is what time, 7?
Yes, yes.
I guess
See,
the
I thought
overtime
that
thing,
go ahead.
the overtime thing kind of boggles my mind right now, because if we're only paying overtime, they're only charging us for the 2:30 flight, right? That's the only
I
time where,
believe that's the one that's causing the issue, yes.
I guess, what about the 7 o'clock light? They change shifts at 7 o'clock, right? 7 to 3:30, 3:30, what's, you know.
I don't know what the shifts are.
Are we billed on the weekends for overtime?
I
Or are there
can't, I
shifts
can't
that's
remember
normal?
exactly how it is, but I know that it's 9 hours a day and we pay 1 hour of overtime. And that's every day, so.
That's every day.
Every day.
Well, they
That's-
use the officers that are on duty,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
So weekend wouldn't make any difference than a regular day. See, I know that that particular time of day, they have a lot of demands upon themselves. Every one of the elementary schools wants a
Yeah.
police car there, you know, that type of thing. So I know that there's probably a certain amount of things, a certain amount of demands that they have. But my question is when you say we pay an hour of overtime, do we pay the difference between the 26 and the 39 and split it in half, or do we pay the whole?
Yes,
39.
up to a cap, and our
Okay.
cap is $11,000 a year. Once
Okay.
we hit that.
So we
it's
don't
o-
pay
everything
that
is over
1
the
hour
city's
at
count.
$39 a day, we pay the 1 hour split with the difference per
Yes.
day.
In past, have we hit our cap?
Yes,
We have
We
hit the
have.
11,000.
because remember that, because the city wanted to renegotiate when we hit the cap, because then all of a sudden, all those costs were going over in their column. So,
Well, we definitely have hit our cap because last year we got
86.
86.
86,000. This year we're getting 48. So we have now hit a crisis,
Yes.
and we need to sit down with the city and TSA to find out what we're gonna be able to do here in this loop. Now, maybe we'll get some answers on October 10th, you know?
18th.
No,
Ten.
is it? 10th.
Oh, well, we have another
Saranac
meeting, I
break,
know,
we're
yeah,
gonna run
that
out of
one, but
meetings.
the other meetings with the,
In the conversation with TSA, they said it was 2 hours maximum. And I said, well, then that's what we will provide, is 2 hours. We will discontinue providing 9 hours a day, and they said that was fully acceptable. That we only needed law enforcement officers there 6 hours a day. So I don't see any reason that we would wanna have them there 9 hours a day any longer. But before, that was the requirement.
We have a negotiating, let's just say, okay, we're gonna use you. So the city loses 86,000, not now, it's down to 43.
Yes,
We don't
86
need,
plus the overtime, so. yes.
okay? So, it's not gonna change the lives of the city police department. They're still going to be the city police department. They're gonna have people, one person out at the airport at a certain time or whatever, but it's not like they're gonna put somebody new on, take somebody off. Nothing's going to change.
They have an
You know what's gonna
$86,000
change?
hole in
They're
their
gonna have a
budget, though.
$43,000 hole in their budget. That's what's going to change. So as soon as we start saying, well, okay, if you don't wanna do it, we need to look at other means. And I think maybe there are other means. Perhaps there are other law enforcement agencies, well, I guess we learned there's only one, that would be interested in having some of that money in their budget as they were passing through for a certain route or whatever they had to do. I think we have to explore our options. The city is getting well paid for this, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yes, they are.
It's a pass-through.
Yeah.
All it is a pass-through from when we get it, pass it through to the city. We don't make a dime on it. It's trying to keep our airport going. But it's getting down to where, you know, what do? We, just like you just passed the resolution to buy a new fire truck. $300,000 fire truck. It's gonna take 12 months to build it.
There are a lot,
Mind-boggling to me on this issue.
there are a lot of costs associated with the airport.
there is.
Now, let me ask, I don't wanna hold you up any longer, because I wanna get out of here too, but I gotta ask this question. Now, we have a different airlines flying into Saranac.
Same airline.
Cape Air.
Cape Air, same airline,
Is in Saranac as well.
yeah.
Different one in Watertown.
I thought it was a different airline in Saranac Lake.
Same one.
Cape Air.
Where did Cape Air, they in Plattsburgh?
No,
No,
They used to be.
it used to be.
that's a Legionnaire. That's a-
Legion's there.
Doesn't Legionnaire go into Saranac now?
Cape Air lost the contract. I'm not sure who picked up the essential air service portion of the contract, but it wasn't a Legion Air. Allegiant is a commercial carrier, not an essential air service.
Do they all have to have the same thing?
Every airport that operates under Part 139 certification does have to have law enforcement officer presence at screening.
Part what, 139?
Yeah, CFR Part 139.
I mean, we can pass the resolution, but we can't afford it anymore.
You can't afford not to take their money, because then you're out of business 100%.
Right.
Nothing even working.
Yeah,
No, it's coming down to where we're gonna have to pay this out of our budget, that's what I'm trying to narrow it down, because we're gonna end up having to budget for this money. We are,
Yeah, this fills
or
half,
we're out of the passenger
half a
business.
hole, basically.
I mean, they whacked you this year half. You think they're gonna hesitate next year when they say there's no more? So what do you do then?
You got a 3-year contract here,
Well,
which I
and-
understand is down from 5 the last time.
yes.
So,
The other thing they have the ability to do is to do a mid-contract modification. We've seen it once before,
lovely.
where it's equivalent to saying that, Don, you and I negotiate a deal, and a year down the road, I come back and say, under the unilateral terms, because I represent the federal government, your rate goes from $20, now the reimbursable rate's only down to 15. Well, that has a material impact on the contract. They do have that ability still too. So
It's
just,
something like Congress, they can do what they want, eh?
just because we have an agreement for 3 years at
Doesn't mean a
48,000,
thing.
doesn't mean that we have an agreement for 3 years at 48,000. I just wanna caution.
Cause they're not
you.
signing that way.
No, they can sign on it and be a fully executed
So you're gonna
agreement,
do-
but they have the ability to do
Maybe
those,
9 hours or 6 hours.
Absolutely.
those modifications.
Well, I guess we discussed this long enough, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the amount of money that the resolution says.
that's all you can do.
Second.
Have a second from Don. Further questions, comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Wade, I'd like to be involved, hopefully my chairman in these negotiations with the city in regards to this.
Certainly.
Well, you guys are having a meeting with all airports, local
Yeah.
airports?
Yeah, the regional airports meeting on
Well,
October 10th.
if you get a
but-
sense that they're all in the same boat, maybe it's time to call, your 2 United States senators and see, you know, are you trying to put us out of business? You know, can you give us some help?
You want this service?
It comes from the federal government, that's where all the subsidies come from.
Well, I think we definitely should put a letter of immediately to all of the senators, federal level, and our congressmen, immediately that we've been cut in half here, and there's a crisis coming here, that
We
they,
need your
that
assistance.
they demand that we have passenger service. We have a good one, we have a good record, and I think we need to talk and tell them people, this cut it keeps coming and coming and coming.
Vote on this, Sam, because I think there is a correction.
All right, go ahead, Ben.
Okay.
I think that number is 43,800.
Not 48, right?
Yes.
Because that's what it was in the other
I couldn't
report.
understand.
So it was in the other,
Is it
and
43?
I think it's 43,800
That's
for
right.
2 reasons. One,
Comes over the
20
31.
times 6 times 365, that's what it is, and 131.4.
So it's
divided by
43 just
43.
originally?
43.8.
Okay, and that comes out to the number, that's why I said the motion, with the 31,400, right?
Yes, yes,
That makes the number.
yes.
Thank you for the catch on that, CFO.
Okay, with that amended
Yeah.
correction,
Good
okay,
to have a numbers guy.
we accept that? Second?
Yeah,
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay. Next item is over on page 21. This is approval of lease agreement for Seiko Incorporated. This is for an office over in the first industrial building. John, that's a wrong building number, is it not? Not the first industrial building,
Yeah,
building one? Okay, I'm sorry. It's for a small office, 210 square feet, at the rates, terms, and conditions you see before you.
What do these folks do, John?
they make fire-resistant gaskets for industries. This thing's got a big furnace in it. and he manufactures them as well. He's down in Virginia, he wants to move back to this area closer to his base in Ottawa. And, he'd really like to get into manufacturing here, but, his business has been kind of stable over the past 4 or 5 years, and he's not ready to make that move yet. I was able to talk him into an office, and hopefully that'll get him interested in doing something like that.
These folks from around here, John?
He's from the Ottawa area,
Is he?
yes.
I make a motion to pass the resolution.
I'll second.
Any other further comments? I'll make one just curiosity, as I look back on your availability space. Is that the most appropriate place for that small office? Without any adjustments to the building, whatever?
Yes.
That's it, okay, because I see that the building still has 28,000 square feet available, so, okay. That's the reason why I went there then, but,
Yep.
okay.
That's the Montgomery one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Almost home.
Did he wanna rent the kitchen?
No.
I'm working on it,
Alright.
person that's interested.
Good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There the ayes.
Item C2 on page 23 is approval of an easement agreement with Time Warner. This is for building 11, you can see on the map on page 24. It's straightforward services, one of the.
I make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Any comments, questions? Some people see reading, so I'll just hesitate a second. Everybody okay? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, item C3 over on page 25, this is approval of a lease agreement with AB Technology. This is in the first industrial building, with the rates, terms, and conditions you see before you. The map is on page 26. You know, it's,
Is it a new person or same person?
New, they distribute, again, it's the heat-sensitive gaskets, for industrial applications. They're out of Kingston, Ontario. Didn't talk
Do
about-
they make the same gaskets as?
That's different, it's different.
Oh, it's different.
And they're more of a distributor, but he does wanna get into manufacturing of some of the products at some point in time.
There's space for storage.
Distribution, yeah.
Need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion, Wallace, second, Rebecca?
Second.
Second, Steve?
Hopefully it's acting like a little incubator over there, some of these companies grow.
Well, my question is almost relative to that, is the growth for this company, if it's successful, whatever, we have space available more, if they need it, obviously.
A lot of room there.
Hmm?
A lot of room there.
Yes, there is.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
agenda item D1 over on page 27. This is the agreement that was referenced regarding Cargill.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Second,
The one I'm looking at here in the report, it looks like a period of 18 months, but it says 6 months in writing.
Yeah, and
And down below it is 6 months. I think it's just 2014 should be 2013.
proofread these.
Is that change that to 13?
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Thanks for catching that, Don. Okay.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay,
There are a couple other matters before the board today, other such matters. So over on page 8 of your other packet, agenda item E1 under other such matters. This is a handling and storage agreement, which was referenced earlier in the conversation with Richardson International.
I make a motion to approve it.
Second.
comments, questions? I think the first thing that I would hear is, it's nice to know that we have a client that's gonna be here for 3 years, and I know, talked earlier with John, there's some growth involved here of, that may, enhance this port greatly once people start to realize this port can do certain things, so that's pretty good, John. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Again, John, excellent getting that.
Yeah, agenda item E2 is coming around. It's the same thing that's in your packet, with the exception there's a name attached to E2 after a personnel committee meeting earlier today. This is for the toll booth operator, second vacancy. It's a grade 9 position at the rates and probationary period you see before you. The effective date would be on or about November 1st. It says October in there, it should be November 1st. And the individual's name is Aaron McMartin.
I'll make the motion to approve this resolution as presented to us.
I'll second it.
Questions, comments?
Well, I think it's important for the rest of the board to know that this position is contingent upon the other position, and that the employee in the other position still has the opportunity over the course of the 1-year period to move back to her job in the toll booth. If that occurred, then this person's employment would be terminated, so she should be hired with that.
And that will be made clear in the conversation.
Yeah, she needs to know.
Thank you.
No. This person came from the pool,
Right.
the 503 that you had before?
Yes, this was, and I guess it makes sense to go through this here. We posted, we had 2 vacancies, we posted internally back in July. We had no internal applications, we put it out, posted it externally, received 245. We narrowed that down to a pool of 21, conducted 8 interviews. When we met with the personnel committee back on July 25th, we hired 1 individual and kept the list static in place for a period of 6 months. And we're to person number 2 on the list at this point. It's kind of the Cliff Notes version. I apologize if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
How mu- just off, how many part-time toll booth collectors do we have?
Can you read that?
Patty, what's your roster?
On this
4?
4?
That's why we've done all the other ones.
Any other questions?
My brain's rolling here with the thought here.
You people read 245 applications?
We did. We
That must have been
worked through
amazing, like fun.
After a while, they all look alike.
painful.
I bet.
Okay, I have a resolution from me,
I had the motion, Steve second, I believe.
Okay, good. Let's, this is one of the things that I'd like to roll call vote on. Is it back to me?
No, I think it's that one.
Ramona?
Ms.
Okay.
Green?
Yes.
Mr. Hooper?
Yes.
Mr. Barlow?
Yes.
Mr. Lockwood?
Yes.
Mr. Delaney?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes the regular business. There is a need for executive session.
I make a motion to go into executive session, anything that comes out of the executive session, the press will be notified accordingly.
I think he's done this job before. Wait a minute, what'd you call me? What was my name?
Walter.
Walter Junior there. I need a second. I get a second?
Second.
And Don, all in favor, signify with aye. Aye. Oh my God. You just couldn't get it out in time.
Thank you.
Think he's got that memorized.
No.
No?
He likes it He likes it like this.
He knows I wanna watch that TV program.
Freddie, it's not gonna be that
I thought the
interesting, I'm
Yankees are,
telling you.
Yankees are on what tonight?
7.
7, okay.
I never heard too many ham bones
Okay, we're
myself.
on.
One of the shortest? Oh,
That's-
well, I was gonna say, let the record show it's now 7 PM, we just went into the executive session, and I'd like to call the meeting back to order. Wade, do we have an action resolution here in front of us?
Yes, agenda item E3 would be an approval agreement with Fisher Associates. The authority received 4 marketing proposals for the development of authority property based on board consensus. Option 4, which entails having a marketing study completed for residential, flex commercial, and transient hotel, along with design and engineering of the 6.5 acre site, the 10 acre site, and the Route 812 and 37 site at a cost not to exceed $128,100 for Fisher Associates.
I'll move that.
Okay, need a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mola. Comments? The only comment I would make at this point in time is that a solid figure? Could it be less than that? Or is that a figure that, that's the only price it's gonna be?
It could be that based on, it could be less based on the reimbursable expenses they have under option 4. But I would recommend cost not to exceed, so that way it
Okay,
covers it.
but do they know that's the figure that's gonna be spent?
Yes,
Okay, so they're gonna spend it all.
yes, this is their, well, this is their quotation.
All right, so that's, even if they can do the work less, they're still gonna charge us that figure. Okay. I have a motion, I have a second,
I'd like a roll call vote,
we'll do
please.
a roll call vote on this one. I think it's to be, you went first, Doug, didn't you?
I went
Oh, I'm
first.
sorry,
Don.
okay, okay, Don, you first.
So Don Hooper,
Yes.
Steve
Yes.
Barlow, Doug Loeffler,
Yes.
Mr. Lamancha,
Yes.
Mr. Carter,
Yes.
Ms. Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, any further, business, Wade?
And additional items need to be discussed in executive session?
No, I can discuss it in open session for the, Wade and myself had passed out a position that we would like to create to the full board, because it's a board position that's gonna have to be filled, it's a full board decision. And that was the account slash grant manager. We need to get your responses back on this document here to me or Sam and Wade or somebody.
If anybody needs one.
Just, you know, some of the areas that you feel that we need to, and then in November, I'd like to discuss it again and see what we're gonna do and how we move from there. So, I mean, I just assume do it in open session.
Okay, so this is not an action thing at this point in time,
No.
just for our own information, and move forward. Okay,
So we gotta get the responses back from each board member
okay.
and,
Did that come out of, this is gonna come out of facilities?
no, it comes out of personnel committee.
Personnel?
It's important that we know next month because of budgeting.
Right,
I wanna put it in the budget if
Okay.
it's going to be a position or not, if it's not.
And the discussion last time was the 45 to 55,000 pay range.
well, I didn't really, I think what we should do is just let them look at what we got here and see what they wanna delete or what they wanna add to make this position. And they can call you or call Fred if they got questions in certain things that's in this to ask about. I think earlier, board member, Darrell brought up some very important issues that we wanna make sure that where we're going, this might not become a reality at all, it might just die before it even gets there, you know what I mean?
The only reason why November's important, because if you decide to go forward, it's gotta be in the budget, otherwise it'll be another whole year.
Yes. So any feedback, could I ask you to get back to me in about a week's time? And we'll incorporate any feedback and then we'll go from there.
All right.
Well, why
Now,
you got that?
One other thing that I wanted to bring up, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I don't think the board knows, or do they know, about the maternity leave person. Are we gonna talk about that? How you're gonna replace her for that 16 weeks?
Yes, the decision of the, again, we're on camera, the decision of the personnel committee was to,
Use the process
utilize,
that we have in place
similar
with
process
Penske.
that we had used previously for a summer intern, which involves Penske.
Administration will
Yes.
follow.
That's how we're
procedure.
gonna do it.
And we have a 16-week maternity leave that starts October 15th, and it would terminate February 1st.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, well, actually, you know, what you just said kind of sparks my brain a little bit about what, I mean, when you start preparing your budget and things that, what your wish list, whatever, we'd like to know exactly what's on your mind,
Okay,
you know, what you're focusing on and whatever wanna be, so
okay.
go from there.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Somebody's gonna second that?
I don't know.
Doug second that?
I don't know, Doug, did you do
Doug,
it?
yes, he did.
He wants to go watch the same guy.
Hey, the guys that are shortest.